I feel like a lot of the consensus with the general consumer is like, what, we need to see more, and we need to feel a little more reassured before we decide on like doing anything with this. You get what I'm saying?
The big problem is consumers nowadays don't think the way that I'm going to say the way that even you and I think.
Oh no,
like,
100%.
If I play an alpha or a beta for a game and I'm like, yo, this is not polished. Like, why are they charging $60 for it? I'm not going to buy it. I'll wait till it goes on sale. But like, charging that much money for let's just call them live service demos for a shell of a game is criminal and terrible, and 90% of consumers feed into it.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. I agree. Hey, Kat, welcome to stream. We're talking about the newly announced loot shooter game from People Can Fly and Square Enix. My brain just farted.
Fallout 76 is a big perpetrator
of this, especially since they're trying to fix the game now by putting NPCs in it, which should have been in the game to begin with.
Can we all just like take a moment and criticize Bethesda because they've been using the same development engine for the better part of 20 years?
Yes, 100%.
And they haven't made any strides to make it better.
Exactly. CK, actually, No Man's Sky
is a great game
now. But it wasn't at launch, and I remember that very vividly. I remember being in college. I remember being so excited for this game, but also being skeptical, and that was the one time I actually was skeptical and was right about it.
The thing with No Man's Sky is Sony pushed it as a AAA title when it was an indie studio of less than 20 people.
Exactly. It had its own inept issues that I would say are very unique to that specific studio, like Hello Games. Like, the issues that they faced were very different than the issues a AAA developer or studio has, you know? They had a very, like you said, they had like 20 people, and it's like, 20 people. The game was marketed as this big AAA, like, massive open world. Do whatever you want. You're going to find these amazing things everywhere you go. You know, you're going, like, it was marketed in such a way that it just couldn't live up to the marketing hype. And you know, but then you have games like Anthem, which are coming from AAA studios like BioWare and EA, which there is no excuse for what happened there.
Yeah, they had three entire studios working on Anthem.
There is absolutely no excuse for what happened there.
What is it? BioWare Edmonton, BioWare Austin, and then one other BioWare studio.
Exactly. They had so many like people working on this game, and they still managed to screw it up so badly. Yeah, you know,
it just proves that no matter how much money you throw at it, if you don't have a unified vision, the game is going to fail.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I mean, any of my friends that are in game development, you know, they would literally like, you know, they would tell me, they were like, there's no excuse for this crap. There's no excuse for this crap. And I think that's like with the Anthem conversation, that's really all there is. I mean, now here we are a year later, and they're talking about completely, you know, halting all of the planned content that they have for it now and doing a complete overhaul and rework. And I'm not going to lie, I'm actually interested in it. Because I did enjoy the core gameplay mechanics of Anthem. I enjoyed the combat, I enjoyed the flying. All of that felt good when it worked. But the gameplay loop was not good. The rewards were not good. You know, and from the studio that helped create one of the best MMOs of all time, I don't understand how they effed that up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't understand where that went so wrong.
Even from being on the outside, listening to the development struggles with Destiny, and them saying that building a live service game was the hardest thing they've ever done, I don't think BioWare knew what they were in for. And then at the same time, having problems within the studio of them not knowing what the game was going to be, just like compounded on top of each other.
Yeah.
So, hey, I have nothing but hope for those guys.
Oh,
and
honestly,
I want them to do something nice, but
honestly, this entire stream isn't a drag fest. Everything, I try to always follow up any kind of critical feedback with like a positive, message behind it. Like, if the game eventually gets good and is eventually worth it, then yeah, I'm gonna hop back into it because I love these types of games, and I'm not gonna sit here and pretend I don't.
I mean, Diablo 3 was terrible at launch.
Exactly. And it ended up becoming one of my favorite games by the end of it, and it's still going on.
Reaper of Souls completely reinvented that game.
Exactly. So it's like, whenever I started playing Destiny 1 way back in the day, I played the hell out of that game up until Vault of Glass came out, and then I'm not gonna lie, I put that game down. I put Destiny 1 down for about half of a year until I graduated high school, went to college, and they announced The Taken King. When they announced The Taken King, I went back because I still had the game. I never traded it in because at that point it had gotten so much bad press and all that they had dumbed the price of it down to nothing.
Like 50 cents.
It wasn't even worth trading in. So I just kept it. I kept the game, took it to college with me. Turns out, by some string of chance, my college roommates played Destiny. They also played it like religiously. So they were all like, wait, you play Destiny? And I'm like, I literally haven't played it since the first raid came out. And they were like, so you don't have any of the expansions or anything? I'm like, no. So at the time, because Taken King was coming out, the expansions were on sale. I rebought them and I started playing the game again. And that's when I was like, okay, at that point, game wasn't really back to being like super, super crazy good, but there was more content in it for me to go after.
During House of Wolves or during Taken King?
During the end of House of Wolves.
Yeah.
It was end of House of Wolves, so all that Skolos was out, like everything was there,
See, I remember House of Wolves being decent, like from being inside the community, because I started playing the game at launch and played it all the way through The Dark Below and House of Wolves, and it's not as bad as people say it was.
No,
but
no, I don't doubt that.
It wasn't in a renaissance.
No, and at the same time, I also have to take into consideration that when it comes to live service games like that, really, Destiny was the first of its kind. So a lot of the consumers didn't know what they were really getting into, if that makes sense.
Dude, when I first beat the campaign, I was like, okay, I beat the game. What happens now?
That's exactly it.
Nobody knew. And then like a week or two later, Vault of Glass came out, and my crew and I were like, we have no idea what this is.
What the hell is this? And then once you started piecing it together, you were like, oh, I get what this is now.
Yeah, the magic happened.
You're like, it just clicked, and it was like, hey, there's this raid, and as soon as you heard the word raid, most people were like, World of Warcraft. And
Exactly.
And then it started coming together in everybody's heads. That's what this is. So then, Destiny was then able to build itself off of that foundation into something more. CK, you're saying rip Trials, man, but I know you don't keep up with Destiny 2. Because you're not going to be saying rip Trials in the next 2 months. Just saying. But just for reference, CK is he's a good buddy of mine. We went to college together.
Nice.
So he was there for my early Destiny days. Him and I actually played a little bit together on Xbox, I think, during Rise of Iron.
Dude, Trials... If it wasn't for Trials, I think Destiny would have died.
I 100% agree with you. Agree with you. Because
when Trials hit and Destiny skyrocketed to the top of the Twitch directory, it absolutely blew my mind. I did not expect that.
That was prime time, baby. That was it. So. That was it. Whenever, if you got on Twitch and you saw Lupo was streaming on the weekend, you knew he was probably doing Trials carries. Or he was playing Trials with Crafty and them.
Yeah, Lupo, Lab, Crafty, fucking Lumi.
And I've said it till the end. If that era of Destiny didn't happen and the community didn't skyrocket the way it did and react to it the way it did, the game wouldn't have survived. It would have, it might have had a cult following, but it would have just kind of faded into the background a little bit. But I also agree with that, Ty, that comment you just threw into chat, that D2 Trials may never recapture exactly what we had. Because, I mean, we see the state of Destiny 2 now, which is not bad, but it's not great. You know, it's kind of sitting in between. I'd say we're probably in, like, that weird, like, Rise of Iron lull, in a way. And it's kind of like... It's hard to explain, really. It's very preferential.
Yeah.
It's very like I know there's people that are still grinding day in, day out no matter what is going on in the game, and there's people like me where I'm kind of like, well, there's really not any new content this week for me to go after, so I'm going to play maybe off stream casually a little bit and just kind of hang out with friends versus doing anything else. So, you know, depending on what's going on. It depends on what's going on. If we're raiding, I'm probably going to stream it.
Destiny is more of a hobbyist game now.
It is. And
less of a hardcore game.
It is. And I would like to see it advance back to being the game kind of like it was. Well, CK, I know you don't, like I said, dude, I know you don't really follow Destiny 2, but Trials of the Nine has been scrapped completely, and that was announced at the beginning of Shadowkeep. So what's happening now is we are building something in the game currently, and we anticipate that this will lead up to the return of Trials of Osiris, at least in the original format, come next season. So Destiny 2 is going to eventually, more than likely, it's been data mined, so I don't even want to say more than likely. I'm just going to straight up say it. It's pretty much coming out. Like, Trials of Osiris is coming back. And I know, CK, you're a little bit critical of Destiny 2 just because of the way things kind of left off for where you left off in the game. But I can definitely tell you, man, it's a completely different game than base. But D1 did have big flaws in the game engine, and I don't know. I'm kind of like wondering what's going on with all those bugs that keep happening during each hotfix too. Like, that's got me a little bit like questioning, not questioning like, oh my god, can they keep this up, but also questioning, is the engine they built Destiny 2 on starting to show its age?
Yeah, because I mean, they would have started building the Tiger 2 engine 5 years ago? Because Taken King was 2015. And
realistically, Murphy's Law, or whatever it is,
whatever can go wrong will go wrong.
It's pretty much. It's essentially like it's gonna start showing its age, and you know, it's gonna start, you know, over time, things just start, unless they get repaired or whatever, it's going to keep going black. But
yeah, and CK saying he doesn't follow D2 religiously, but you see the articles. We are always going to see the negative articles more than the positive articles.
You will always. The only person that I see that regularly posts positive articles about Destiny is Paul Tassi at Forbes. If you want to get some just prime information and some like general thoughts on the game and its current state, I definitely recommend checking out Paul. He's he's a Destiny player himself, so he sits there and he plays through all the new content when it comes out. Then he does write-ups on it, you know, and gives his thoughts, gives the things he likes, things he doesn't like. I don't always agree with stuff he says, but for the majority part of it, I'd say he has some pretty good takes. Oh, hello, my girlfriend is home. Hi, honey. Oh yeah, Ty, thanks for linking Paul.
Of course.
But so yeah, that was Outriders. Outriders is loot shooter game. Pretty excited for it, other than just kind of my skepticisms in a way. It's gonna be interesting later on to see what's going on with it.
I think as long as they get some people from Square Enix's Insight, like the people that worked on A Realm Reborn, they'll be in a good place.
Exactly. And then that was another thing that I didn't take into consideration, that they have A Realm Reborn. I'm going to finish off with one last minor, not really concern, because I think this game is going to be way separate from another action RPG that Square Enix is publishing around the same time. The Avengers game.
Oh god, yeah.
They're coming out, if I'm not mistaken, they will be releasing not like around, but like within at least 6 months of each other. Now, granted, that game's going to have its own fan base based on the fact that it's a Marvel IP. You know, because you're not going to have much competition there. It's a Marvel IP, so Marvel fans are going to be playing it.
Marvel's Avengers is September 4th, 2020. So within, yeah,
It's
about
like
3 months of
literally
each
within
other.
the same like quarter.
Yep.
They're putting out 2 action RPG live service games.
But this is Crystal Dynamics Square Enix, so it's an in-house Square Enix studio.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not by any means saying that more loot shooters means bad game, but or means like that it's a bad thing for the genre, because it's not. I mean, look at battle royales, for instance. You know, it's I mean, the 2 completely different types of games. They're not anywhere near built the same, but you know, you had PUBG drop, or you had H1Z1 battle royale, which then gave way to PUBG.
Yeah.
You know, which people then took that idea and they were like, you know what? What if we put our own twist on this? So that's how you got Fortnite out of what was supposed to be, you know, just like a tower defense type of almost RPG-esque type of thing, action RPG type of thing. You know, DayZ gave way to PUBG and all those early precursors to the battle royale
mods,
genre.
yeah.
But
they were all mods.
Yeah, they were all mods. They were just kind of an expansion, but then they ended up becoming their own thing. You know, and that's kind of like how that builds. But honestly, the battle royale genre grew so massive. You have a game like Apex that I cannot think of another battle royale that is anywhere near the same as Apex is.
Are you talking like within the genre?
Talking within the genre of battle royales.
Yeah.
Within battle royales.
I mean, it basically took the best parts of BRs and sprinkled in a little bit of Overwatch salt.
Exactly. So, like, you know, and with these new action RPG loot shooter games coming out, you know, I hope, my only hope is that some of these studios kind of see how that works for other genres, where if you throw enough of your own twist on something, you could have something seriously special. You know? Like, that's what I hope out of this. That's honestly what I hope. I do want to watch that New World trailer, so we'll get to that soon. Now,
I would say open the